Welcome traders, it's Chris Chartman here of the Freedom Traders, and I want to explain to you what happens after a really big drop in many instances, and what kind of trades you can find after a big fear drop. We have Phantom here, FTM, after a big drop on the 5th of January, and this is now the day after. So what happens is that after a big drop, we usually set up a symmetrical triangle, or what we call a pattern of lower highs and higher lows, or an equilibrium pattern. In this case, you can see that after the big drop, we sort of start forming these higher lows, and we start forming these lower highs, in here. And in this case, I'm on the 15-minute time frame, but actually this is an hourly equilibrium pattern, which more or less, that's why I don't like drawing these triangles as much, because they can be misleading. I prefer to use the horizontal levels, and I recommend you do the same. So you'd have a level here, and you have a level here, and you have a higher low here, and a lower high here. So after this big hourly oversold bounce, after the fear flush, it comes in, and you can establish a trade trying to buy the higher low versus this low of 259. That could be your first trade for the equilibrium, targeting a lower high versus the bounce high. And that's a nice trade because you have clear levels to play off of. You know, historically, there's a very high probability for equilibriums to form after big drops. So if you would have scaled in along here and gotten an average, you could have got, taken part of this almost 8% move, and you would have taken part of it, and you could have gotten a 5% trade out of it. What you do is you scale in with an order here and an order here and an order here towards this low, and you have to use this low as a stop, because otherwise it's downward continuation. So you got a nice trade. Now you could keep a little part for a swing under this low, or you could stop and you say, okay, I'll try the next higher low, and then you play it off of this level. So it comes in, you start buying here, you sell some, now you keep a stop under here or under here, and it continues to tighten. So here it sets another lower high. Now this is not a very clear pivot, but it does show the tightening range. And today, it tried to break out, but it couldn't on the first attempt. And I'm going to go over what I did today and what I did badly, because I don't usually like to buy breaks. And I'll go over what I should have done. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I learned from something that I did today that wasn't ideal. And I'm going to show you on the 5-minute time frame. Starting here. So this here would have been the ideal entry, but I was not at the computer. We even had a 5-minute equilibrium here that you could have used that as a beautiful entry, but I was not at the computer. When I got to the computer, it was a little bit later. So we're going to watch the charts as it unfolds. 5-minute EQ broke bullish. Backtest. Okay, now it's moving up. Now it needs a 5-minute higher low, or it's going to try and set a 15-minute higher low. Okay. Break of support. Retest of the prior lows. So if you'd entered here or back here, you would have sold some, so your stop would be down here. You're still safe if you want to stay in for a swing. So 5 minutes getting a bit choppy. So we're looking at this level. And this is our range that we're looking at for the hourly EQ. And now here you can see it's breaking above this last level. And this is where I got trapped. I'm going to stop here. So what I did was, this is the level. I rarely buy breaks because breaks usually give you a very bad risk to reward. And here you can see why. Why I prefer in an equilibrium to buy towards this prior low, because my stop's very close by and I can sell some, which puts me in control. Now, it comes back in to test it. I actually gave you the chance at a double bottom. But because you came in here, you sold some, your average is here, you don't have to worry if you want to stay in for a probable continuation. Because eventually this hourly EQ is going to break in one direction. And you want to position yourself to be in it with as little risk as possible, or even in profit for the bigger move. You don't know which direction it's going to break. It can break up, it can break down. But you want to position yourself to be in it with no risk at all, or even in profit, or as little risk as possible. So what I did today is, I had a friend here today and I was doing it for demonstration purposes. I bought the break. Now, something I would never do. If I bought the break, I would only buy it with a tiny, tiny position, just so I can be in the trade as an anti-FOMO. Yeah. But I bought a little bit, and then I saw this candle, and Bitcoin was also starting to break out, and the dollar was moving down a little bit, and SPY was moving up at that point in time. And that's right here. That's what SPY was doing, this candle on the 5 minute. Here. This is where I got trapped. I bought and then I added right on this move because I saw that volume. See that volume increase? And I thought, wow, great. But that was the market open. And market open can also always be quite erratic. And so it didn't follow through. And that's what happens to you when you buy breaks. You've got no room to maneuver. So what I had on my plan to buy this break, I had more orders down here. VWAP a little bit lower, and another order towards this low. But because I got some FOMO, I market bought the same position size another time here. So now I was too big. And as I was laddering into this lows, the stock market did that. And the dollar started bouncing. See this here? So I had to prepare myself for maybe a loss of these lows and continued downtrend. And that's the problem. When you buy a break, you're not in control. So we lost the lows, but without follow through, which gave me some confidence. But just because of the type of trade management, look at it now. Once it came here, I started being underwater, and I could have, just added more here if I had a smaller size. And then it did this. I could have added more and built my position, because that would have been my smallest, that would have been my mid-size, that would have been my bigger one, constantly playing off of this low where the blue line is. And I could have accumulated in here. And now, because I've increased my scale-ins are getting bigger and bigger. I wouldn't have been like, oh no, I'm stuck. The stock market's going to drop. The dollar's going up. Because you bought the break, now you're trapped. Once you're trapped, trading becomes a nightmare. Your stomach's twisting, you're starting to feel out of control, and you never want to be out of control. And buying breaks, you can only do it with very little size because your risk level is down here, So your size has to be so small that it doesn't matter when it moves down here because that's what you calculated. And if you look at it now, had I bought only a little bit here, bought a little bit more here, bought more here, using this low as my stop, I would have had an average of here. I could have sold a little bit here. Now I could have sold a little bit here. We've broken this prior hourly lower high. And I'm a comfortable position with an average maybe down here. So when you buy breaks, you just have to realize that there's a huge chance of getting faked out. They're just very, very low probability trades, especially in circumstances like this. Circumstance like this, after a big drop, it's the equilibrium, fishing the higher lows or top fishing the lower highs, which give you these great entries. And if you're buying a break like I did here, you need to use tiny size and anticipate that back test of the range is more likely than straight up continuation. And so my anti-FOMO position would have had to be just very, very small, maybe 1% of my entire account. And then these ladders could have taken it up to maybe 5% of my entire account. Never more, because I wasn't fishing the low. If I'm fishing this low here, I can use a lot more of my account because I can immediately sell and drop my average. So I hope this made sense. This is a short one on how to trade equilibriums and how to be careful with trading breakouts of equilibriums and why it's so easy to get trapped and how terrible it feels to be trapped, and that the only solution to deal with not feeling trapped is small size and not succumbing to FOMO. And I also showed you that SPY at the open can give very confusing signs, especially when there's fear in the market and uncertainty and doubt. The first half an hour in SPY looked like this. It was very, 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 very choppy, as you can see right here where my mouse is moving. It's just up, big volume, you think it's great. Oh, it's going down. Oh no, reversal hammer, just break below the low. That was the important low for the day. Broke below, hunted out those stops, then came up. And because I bought the break, I can't participate in any of that. I've got my back to the wall. And I mean to say, bought the break with too much size. So if you buy the break, recognize that you need to size much smaller than if you bottom fish the lows using the prior resistance and support levels. And in this case, there's a beautiful hourly EQ, which has now turned into an hourly uptrend. See, that fake out up here that I bought, that was actually the hourly higher high compared to this, if you call this a pivot. I will for this video. And then this was the hourly higher low. So you could have waited patiently for the backtest, bought the hourly higher low, boom, here you go. Look at this beautiful 5 to 6% follow through now on this trade. So there's great trades to be had after maximum fear. Oh, it's just an amazing follow through here. And it makes you wish you hadn't bought the break with too much size, but remained in control by always buying towards the bottom of the range, selling a partial, putting yourself in full control, and then being able to enjoy the rest of the trade and just enjoy it. Okay, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. Give me a like, post a comment with a question, and share. Thank you. Bye-bye.